My 26 girlfriend, 24, takes forever in the bathroom. Upwards of 1 hour, sometimes closer to 2. When I playfully ribbed her about this, she'd get irritated but nothing major. 3 months ago I was playfully teasing her and she flipped out. She said she won't do anything anymore, and true to her word she hasn't shaved, waxed, or put on makeup since then, and wears her hair looking like bedhead. I told her that I got her point and would appreciate it if she resumed doing things that I also do to stay presentable. Her head hair improved a bit, although not even close to how it was before, but she still has hair on her legs and underarms, semi-unibrow, etc. Now she's saying I have to pay her to resume taking care of herself, which I find crazy as I'm not her sugar daddy. Why should I pay for her to upkeep herself like she's my sugar baby? I understand that it's her body, her choice, etc. But if there are any guys out there who think they would be okay if their girlfriend had long underarm hair, then you're a better man than me. I haven't pushed her to do anything, nor am I enforcing any ultimatums. If, as she says, I've been conditioned to want her to look a certain way, well, that's awful, but it's not my fault. If we broke up, she'd pay for all of this beauty stuff herself, so why should I pay? Anyone who says I'm an idiot, are you going to then start paying for all your girlfriend's beauty regimens, or else be fine with 100% body hair and no makeup or hair care ever? Be honest with yourselves. GF sighed. He keeps being an idiot about how long I would take in the bathroom, so as he said, I quit things he didn't even realize I was doing. No makeup, no shaving/waxing, no brows, no waxing those mustache hairs. I have curly frizzy hair, so I stopped using product or straightening, curling with an iron, no manicure/pedicure, no touching up or redoing my highlights. Do I look like a beast? Sure. Am I a comfy, smug beast? Hell yes. He rightfully pointed out that he takes care of himself for me, by shaving his beard and cutting his hair, so I obligingly waxed my upper lip and got a haircut. I'm continuing to do this whole thing because 1, it's so much less effort for me, 2, it's way cheaper, and 3, now that I stopped, I feel like, why do I ever have to do all this thing? It's unfair. And if I have to do it because both of us have been conditioned to see me doing these things as the basic standards for a woman, then he should pay half the costs. I conservatively spend at least $1,000 a year on brows, shaving supplies, hair products, highlights, haircuts, and makeup. Conservatively. He should have to pay me at least half if he wants me to do it, and extra for painful things like bikini waxes if he wants me to do them again. Otherwise, it's not fair. Both, we love each other a lot and aren't actually fighting. We recognize that we're having a difference in opinion, and since neither has been able to sway the other, we came to the court of public opinion. You are the idiot, boyfriend, obviously. Oh, but she's not my sugar baby. So you want to be able to dictate how she looks, but you also think she should incur the cost as well as the time, and discomfort, of living up to that? Honestly, 50% of the cost is a bargain. Oh, but she'd do it if she were single. Would she though? Tell you what. Why don't you two add up all your grooming expenses? Your hair and shaving products, her hair and shaving products and leg waxes and straighteners and makeup and hair products, and manicure, pedicure. Call them joint expenses, split them 50-50. You are the idiot. A very petty dispute in which both sides were idiots led to girlfriend realizing how much time and money she spent on grooming and decided not to do it anymore. You point out that you spend time and money on grooming and she agrees to spend the same amount. You realize you want her to spend even more of her time and money on grooming, and she agrees to do it if you subsidize it. Sounds fair. I do find myself extremely unsympathetic to all the stuff from both of you about social conditioning and the ideas about grooming for each other rather than for yourselves as individuals. You are the idiot, boyfriend. She doesn't want to anymore but says she will do it for you if you pay for half of the supplies, which is not the same as paying her to look pretty. Your argument that she would buy these things if she were single also seems false, as she says she is enjoying how she looks and feels without the makeup, waxing, etc. I'll try and keep this brief. I met my roommate Nicole in late July through mutual friends last July, and she moved in August 1st when my old roommate moved out for grad school. Nicole seemed very sweet, but we're definitely more friendly than friends. She is subleasing, so she pays rent directly to me on a month-to-month basis. She's not on the lease, and I told her that she could move out as long as she gave me a month's notice. Her boyfriend, Blake, is another story. He's around at the apartment a lot, which is usually fine by me because I'm either at work or at my boyfriend's a lot of the time. But Blake is a real idiot. He knows I'm a feminist and is always trying to get a rise out of me and tease me even when we really are not close like that. I try to be polite, but he is just kind of awful. So last night, I was in my room when I saw I was overcharged for an electricity bill. It was almost double the usual amount. I went to the living room where Nicole and Blake were watching TV and I asked her about it. She said she didn't know why, so I went back to my room and called Consolidated Edison. The first representative was incompetent, so I asked to speak with her manager. I was annoyed at the time, but I wasn't yelling. At no point did I raise my voice. The manager helped resolve the issue. I went back to the kitchen and got a drink. Blake told me that I sounded like a real Karen on the phone. I never heard this before, so I asked what it meant. He said a Karen is someone who gets annoyed and asks to speak to a manager. I told him sounds like terrible thing. And he asked why I couldn't take a joke and told me that he wasn't that terrible. So I told him maybe when you get a job and move out of your parents' house and start paying your own bills, you'll understand why it's awful to be overcharged. I know this wasn't the nicest thing to say, but in my opinion, he definitely deserved it. He blew up. He called me toxic and I rolled my eyes, which only further aggravated him. It was honestly pathetic. It was like a large toddler throwing a tantrum. At no point did I actually fear for my safety. Blake and I went back and forth for a bit, but Nicole just sat there silently, which I also viewed as pathetic. Then he and Nicole left. Well, today while I'm at work, Nicole sent me a text saying that she's going to move out because she doesn't want to be around such a toxic person as me, and that she didn't want Blake to constantly feel like he's walking on eggshells when he visits the apartment. I told her that it was fine if she moved out. She already paid her October rent. I feel like it's pretty obvious that she's just parroting Blake's language about me being toxic, but I'm annoyed because now I have to find a new roommate. I want some outside perspective as to whether I was an idiot here. Update: I'm kind of overwhelmed by all these comments and I've only read about a quarter of them. I'm done reading, but thanks to all who responded. I'm going to have a talk with Nicole when she gets back from work. I especially want to thank all the people who just commented saying that I'm definitely a Karen. You're all very clever and I'm sure your parents are mad proud. Not the idiot. There are some men who get defensive around a confident, competent woman. Blake has issues and has been trying to put you down to make himself feel better. It didn't work, so he is moving his girlfriend to somewhere he can walk over the housemates. Congratulate yourself on getting away from this idiot. Everyone's the idiot here. Your roommate and her boyfriend are idiots way more, but you invited an argument when you shot back at him. People like that want you to get worked up. There was no need to give him any kind of reaction to that stupid comment. Let her move out, find a new roommate, and don't allow people to get under your skin so easily. Not the idiot. Where does he get off calling you names in your own home? You had legit business with the manager of the call center, and I don't even see a gag in that. He just wanted to call you a name. Dollars to donuts, it was to stick it to the feminist. In the end, he maliciously called you names in your home and you weren't in on the gag. You said you didn't like it and he behaved worse. It's on him, not you. My wife and I have 2 kids, an 8-year-old girl, and an 11-year-old boy. My wife became a stay-at-home mom for a while after each of them was born, but now she works a full-time job like me. The thing that bothers me is that the kids pay zero attention to me unless my wife tells them to or I'm lecturing them. If they need anything, they'll always ask my wife. Help with homework, trouble at school, wanting something new, wanting to go out. They always ask my wife. Which ends up making me the bad one because most of the interactions that I have with them only when they do something wrong or if they start acting up. That isn't to say that my wife leaves the task to me. She does the same as well, but she also gives them good moments which negates that, while I mostly get the bad ones. I work a lot and I travel quite a few times, and my wife has said that the kids probably didn't bond with me enough because of it. This is not something that I could have avoided because my career is very important to me as well as my family. We tried a lot of things. Currently, my wife and I have a system where we take turns with their tasks so that we both get to spend the same time with them equally. But we noticed that unless the task was something they had to do, they would just avoid it when it was my turn to do it. That was when my wife suggested family therapy. She found a good therapist with good recommendations and such. The thing is, I don't want my time with my kids to be inside of a therapist's office, and the thought that for my kids to like me I need to get professional help while they like my wife just fine is hurtful. My wife said that I was being immature for not accepting this and said I needed to accept that our methods had failed. When I suggested that maybe we were being too soft with the kids, she ended up getting extremely angry at me, and now she only speaks to me in front of the kids. "You are the idiot." I was already leaning towards this judgment, but then I read maybe we're being too soft with the kids and my blood ran cold. You do realize that you can't punish someone enough to make them love you, right? You seriously need therapy, at the very least solo, on top of the family, so you can learn how to foster a real relationship with people instead of expecting them to automatically love you. You are the idiot. You missed out on some important bonding time due to your job. You don't mention taking any initiative of getting involved with your kids' activities that they enjoy. Taking time to play or whatever it is that they like to do. Now your wife has taken the time to try and set things up with a professional to try and facilitate some bonding for you. The family therapy doesn't really gain anything for her. It's literally for you and your relationship with your kids. Swallow your pride and accept some help. At least give it an honest shot. You are the idiot. Your family clearly needs it, especially since you prioritize your career over your family. If you want a good relationship with your kids, you'd regret not doing everything in your power now to correct it. Being too soft on the kids? They already see you as the bad guy. Go any harder on them and they won't have any fond memories of you. Make time for them. My boyfriend has terrible time management skills and is late for everything. I absolutely hate it because I am the kind of person that believes if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. For example, we were invited to a family lunch a few years ago. Everyone was meeting at a restaurant at 11 a.m. We lived 10 minutes from said restaurant and my boyfriend waited until 10:55 before getting in the shower or attempting to get ready. We were an hour late meeting the family, who was already well into the meal when we arrived. A few months went by and another family gathering invite was sent out, with a start time of 1 p.m. Knowing that he is terrible at getting ready and leaving on time, I told my boyfriend that the event started at noon, not 1 o'clock. And just as I figured it just before noon, my boyfriend started to get ready. We show up at 1 o'clock, him thinking we're now an hour late, only to find out that everyone else is just getting there too. So last night we got to discussing things and it got brought up how I had lied about what time the event started. I know it's an awful thing to lie, and he pointed out if I can lie about something like that, who knows what else I'd be lying about. I told him he was right to feel like that, but reminded him that I don't have locks on my phone and he knows the passwords/PIN numbers to all my accounts, so he's more than welcome to check and see if I'm hiding something. I explained that I only did it because he has terrible time management skills and can't seem to be anywhere on time. In my opinion, being repeatedly late to things is rude and it's a terrible skill to be teaching his children. He doesn't have any kind of problems with his family, so there is no reason that he would want to limit his time with them, and it's not like these gatherings are boring/not fun events. The one I lied about the start time was actually a family paintball game, which we love to play. I've learned my lesson and don't plan on doing it again in the future, but I just have to know if I'm an idiot for lying to try and get him to be on time for something that is important to me. Not the idiot. He's being extremely rude and inconsiderate of your time, and everyone else's. In the future, I would recommend leaving without him. Tell him, it starts at 1 p.m., I'm leaving the house at 12:45 p.m., or whenever, and I would love it if you were ready and came with me. But if you're not ready, I'm going on my own and we'll see you there. A few instances where he has to take a taxi while you've left in the car and he might start to improve his behavior. Not the idiot. And learned my lesson. What are you, 12? In this part of your life, your BF is a huge a-hole. 10 minutes late would be more acceptable, but an hour late is just ridiculous. I'd go with what I saw another user post. The thing starts at 12, I'm leaving at 11:45. If you can get ready on time, great. If not, I'll see you when I see you. You aren't his mom, and he's old enough to learn how to get ready on time. Not the idiot. Lying wasn't the best way to handle it, but I understand why you did it. I've had 2 partners like this, so I know how difficult it is to live with someone so inconsiderate. It has all sorts of negative impacts on your life, including damaging relationships with friends and family. Your BF needs to understand that tardiness is a behavior that has consequences and he needs to fix it. So I have a father who left our family to start a new one with our neighbor when I was 13. I never fully forgave him even though he tried, and still does, to make it up to me. Growing up, he would pay me to work with him in his company. It's pretty advanced construction finishing stuff, like custom molding for many different uses. I worked with him on and off through college and I've gotten very good at it. He asked me to join his company full-time as an equal owner after I graduated. But my stepmom had a fit and basically forced my stepbrother into the mix as well. I didn't get along with my stepbrother and told my father that's either him or me. He also did not have the right skills to work in a major capacity. To no one's surprise, my father said I needed to compromise so everyone in the family can be happy. I refused to compromise and went ahead and set up my own company. My father was upset, but I guess he figured he couldn't stop me. We continued having weekly dinners. For some reason, people are liking my company's work more. I have expanded my company more than my father ever has. I also targeted his major clients who have slowly come over to my company. I don't even do any of the labor myself anymore unless I want to. Last week, my father broke down and said his business was struggling to survive. I admit I did feel bad, so I offered him a full-time job in my company and that I'd buy out his tools and workshop lease. But I told him my stepmother and stepbrother are not welcome anywhere near my company. This made my father pretty angry and we had a pretty big fight. He said I betrayed him. Then I basically told him he betrayed me by cheating on my mother. I do feel kind of guilty. I ruined my father's company he worked hard to build. But at the same time, he forced me into this position by getting his family involved. Everyone's the idiot here. So you learn the ins and outs of the business from your dad, then started a direct competitor to his business, specifically targeted his largest clients, and then tried to be the better guy by offering him a job working for you with stipulations. I'd put money on the assumption that you took advantage of knowing his pricing to undercut all of his bids. The apple didn't fall far from the tree, it seems. You're an idiot, OP. Obviously, your dad is an idiot too for his decisions regarding his families, so I won't address that further. Everyone's the idiot here. It's not like you were gunning to ruin his business. I don't think you're the for that, but you can't act like you forgive someone for something and then throw it in their face on unrelated arguments. He's his for making choices and then blaming you over the consequences of the choices. Again, you weren't trying to ruin his business, but he made a choice to exclude you from his business, knowing the criteria for you being included, and then not liking the way it's played out. Not the idiot, is good for you for starting up your own company. He should be proud of you regardless because you are your son and you've built this company yourself. You were even nice to offer to help and give him a job, and he is mad because your stepbrother can't have a job? Why can't he find his own job? Don't feel guilty for creating a successful business. If your dad doesn't want to see it and chooses his family over you, then oh well.